Shulam and Brocha. Let's learn some Chumash together. The Parshas Vayeira talks about very interesting insights. And I recently came across a story from Rabbi Leibel Lamb, and I thought I'd share it with you. It seems there was a murder trial. The courtroom was filled with these sensational trials, and the accused looked like he's in trouble here because they had piles of evidence, and it did not look very good. So the defending attorney gets up to say his final remarks. It's the 11th hour. So he turns around and he says that he had hard evidence, which would clearly demonstrate that his client, the accused, was in fact totally innocent. And he stated that in precisely 2 minutes, the murder victim himself would enter the large oak doors in the back of the courtroom. Everyone was shocked. So they stared for a full minute at the doors of to see what's going to happen. And after the last second lapsed, they all started refocusing their attention on the defense attorney. With the genius of a desperate man, he pointed out that according to the law, in order to convict, the jury had to be beyond certain. There should be no shadow of a doubt that the man is guilty. Since everybody in the courtroom, including the members of the jury, had stared at the doors, awaiting the entrance of the victim himself, then they must harbor a shadow of a doubt. Right? And therefore, they have to find him innocent. With that, he sat down and rested his case. Jury was sent out. They deliberated for exactly 10 minutes, and they returned with a decision, finding the accused guilty. So the lawyer was aghast. He thought this was a done deal. Right? So he quickly put his papers together and buttonholed one of the jurors in the parking lot. He's begging, please explain to me, how did you find him guilty when I showed you that there was a question. So the juror told him that in his summary, in his statement, it was so clever that for the first 9 minutes, everyone was ready to acquit, right? It was only in the last minute that the things changed. One of the jurors admitted allowing his eye to wander during that pregnant minute while they were all looking at the door, when everyone was waiting for the victim to come through, presumed dead, but would be walking into the courtroom. He said, at that moment, I noticed that there was one person in the courtroom who was not looking at the oak doors. Who was it? The accused. If the accused himself does not believe the claim, because I faced the amendments, then all the king's horses and all the king's men, right, could never deceive the observant eye of even a child. So it's a cute masa. You can use it at many different levels, and I have no patent over it. So it's a gift for speakers many times, I'm sure. So to me, it's saying that there's a window of truth that we must always be focused on. If not, we could become hoodwinked by other people into questioning that which we know is true. This week's Parshas, Vayeira, we find Sarah laughing to herself when she hears that she would be giving birth to a son despite her advanced years. Right? So the Pasuk tells us that Hashem said to Avram Avinu, why is Sarah laughing? Saying, shall I in truth bear a child, though I have aged? Says the Eibishter, is anything beyond the Eibishter? At the appointed time, I will return to you. At this time next year, and Sarah will have a son. So Sarah denied it, saying it. She said, I did not laugh, because she was frightened. So the Heilige Kotzker Rebbe, he comments on this passage. He says, Sarah did not lie. She truly thought that she had laughed not in disbelief, but in joy, as Avram Avinu did. The truth was, however, subconsciously, she harbored a small piece of doubt on the possibility of such a miracle. This is Sarah, the mother of our nation, a woman who is pure in every way. In Parshas Surah next week, you're going to see we see her life as being described as perfect at each stage, at every age. Yet even the saintly can have moments of difficulty. And the deepest challenge is to admit to that difficulty and seeing them for what they are. We all have momentary, I don't know what's going to happen, especially in our times, where everything seems to be going in so many different directions. We don't know where to do. I get calls a whole day. Is there going to be shul this Shabbos? What's going to happen? I have an ear einikl. My oldest ear einikl, a boy, is having a bar mitzvah in a couple of weeks. Is there going to be a shul? Will he have an Lear? What's happening? Is this what the Irish? Yes, this is what the Irish wants. But sometimes you get verkocht, you get cooked into. Is this really happening? How far can we go? In our humble lives, where we can't even imagine the spiritual heights that were enjoyed by the Uvas, by Avram Avinu, by Surah Mona, we talk ourselves into really believing we are spiritual and holy like anyone else. We don't open ourselves up to the truth. In Yiddish, it's called Menat Zechup. We fool ourselves. And that's a terrible, terrible hazard. You have to be able to know where you are and who you are, even to yourself. And it's hard. Parsha Rebbe talks about this many times, about opening yourself up. We spoke about it in Vayeira, right? The fiction becomes our identity until rare moments of insight show us we are on a different level than we imagined. The Mensch redt sich an. It's hard to know the truth of oneself. And so we talk ourselves, look at me, I come to shul. Listen, I don't know when you'll see this or what, but they're talking about closing the shuls again. We'll know in another day or two. Well, when we had to close the shuls all those months ago, we all said to ourselves, never again. We are going to be good. We're not going to talk Lashon Hara. We're not going to argue. We're going to be so beachtus, give us back our shul. Eibishter will promise you with this time we're going to do right. So we got the shuls back. What happened? How many guys fell right back into the old time? The same Lashon Haras, the same Nish Davening, the same arguing. What happened? So guess what happened? We're closing shul again. We're being threatened to have to close again because we didn't get it. Because we're not tzchuk. Just like the fellow said, there is no corona. What are you talking about? There's levias going on here, and there's there's nothing happening. I don't need to wear a mask. Not tzchuk. We have to. I know it's hard to have open moments of realization. They make you feel somehow bad, but rather they should allow you to accept for at least that moment your reality. And then we can start working. How often I go to a young man, he's talking about davening, I say, shh. Oh, I have Pastor fighting. Being a committed Yid entails leaving behind the facade and recognizing that we have fallen short sometimes. That's what it is. The Abish is sending us messages. We're just not getting it. We are here to create Kiddush Hashem and to complete the tikkun that is unique to who we are. And we are the door, the generation of Corona, and our tikkun is to conquer this by holding fast and constantly being focused on the emes and showing the Irish that we trust and we believe and we have betochen and amunah. This is not going to happen if we keep fooling ourselves into believing we are what we're not. I pretend, I like to think I'm a bit of a student of the human condition. I'm always amazed at the capacity of individuals to fool themselves into believing anything. Especially in our day and age, with all the technology and so much information flooding through. People say stuff. Where did you hear that from? Oh, no, I heard this is true. Everyone's a medical expert. Ingeman calls me up yesterday. This is such a person that said his father was very sick with corona. No, it wasn't corona, and they almost killed him in the hospital. I said, how do you know all this? Oh, I said, yeah, how many years did you go to medical school? Oh, well, okay. So what are you talking about? The Irish gives us the shustik to learn how to be a loifer, to be a shliach. Doesn't make you an expert because you read an article someplace in one of the magazines. Doesn't make you an expert. We have to work on this. We are here to, as I said, create Kiddush Hashem. This will never happen if we keep fooling ourselves into believing we are that which we're not. A student of, so even more, it's hard to understand that some will do this time and again. People keep going and doing the same thing. We promise, and then we get back, no. Despite all the proof to the contrary, there will be those who will sit there in their easy chair and allow all semblance of reality to wash over them. Don't know what you're talking about. I don't need a mask. Everything's okay. This is not some victimless fiasco that we can laugh at. At stake is our future. Our children are not easily fooled. And our capacity to sleep through our Jewish experiences bring us no honor. When we when we talk ourselves into this, we're not bringing any kuvit to ourselves. Kids watch this. They know that we're stumbling and pretending. And they ask, what's it all about? We need so much chesed today. Our children need a fresh breeze of emes in their lives, especially with the schools closing and opening. They're told this, they see this. We, the parents and the grandparents, need to give them hope and joy. Yet there's so much chaos around us. It's no wonder we seem to sleep. It was never easy being a servant to Hashem. And these times are very difficult. We face challenges far beyond the circle of our enclosed bubble, the bubble of our community, and we think this is it. The greatest tool we can give to ourselves and to our young is a certainty that we believe and we are strong and we seek to know the truth within ourselves. We should sit in the courtroom of our lives and know surely, without any doubt, what is the emes. The Irish zones all the help. The Irish will schicken the Mashiach b'Vayeira b'Yomayni. We should all be gesinnt and meet each other soon in the streets of Yerushalayim, Aish Kodesh.